Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Unspoken Words. We are at CommuniCamp, June 2026. Welcome. We have 3 parents here, 2 of which have children at the camp right now, and 1 of which I worked with in the past. That is a thriving, talking young boy. Mom is here to share her thoughts, ask some additional questions, and together we're just going to have a rap session. So I'd love for you to give your name or whatever it is you're comfortable with, your child, a little bit about your journey, maybe, a couple words. Let's get started. So tell us about you.
Sure. My name is Julie. So we are here from Maine, and my daughter is 12 years old. She's had selective mutism that we can see from when she was little, but we didn't get a diagnosis until last year. So we've just started the journey of learning about a selective mutism and finding what's going to work to help her through.
Oh, wow. Okay. You just learned about this last year. It's interesting. Layla, who was on the panel, I treated her as a teen and you saw her up there. So she came to us as like what did she say? 12 or 13, 14, something like that. Yeah. 14. Yeah. And so she had been kind of not sure what to do for years. And so when you come later, it's a different type of presentation.
Yes.
But thank you for being here and trusting us, and excited to work with you guys.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Oh, of course.
And I'm Amber. I'm from Texas. My daughter Mila is 8. She was diagnosed at the age of 3.5 with selective mutism by a psychologist. Resources are difficult to find different therapeutic options. So I was really excited. I've been looking at CommuniCamp for some time. The way circumstances aligned, this ended up being a good time in our life to take this opportunity. I want to give her confidence and hope and be around other kids that are struggling with similar issues to really empower her and whatever her recovery journey looks like. While I'm her mom, I can't do it for her, and she's got to figure out what works for her. So I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited because of your career as well. You're so instrumental, not only in learning this, but applying it in terms of the professional world. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to keeping in touch with you and seeing additional ways to get this out there, because the term SM is kind of known, which is good, because when I was struggling with my own daughter, the term was like, what? Elective mutism, these kids choosing and refusing. There's plenty of people that still see it that way. But I believe the term is out there. The problem is people don't always know what it is and what to do about it. So when you're in the field, it's like, it's our job. That's how I saw it with Sophie, is to do whatever we can to get out there to share this. Because if our kids are suffering, there's so many more suffering. So introduce yourself.
My name is Christi. My son was diagnosed in 2022 when he was 3.5 at the Smart Center. We're luckily only 20 minutes away. So we had the best resource right in our backyard. I'm a special ed teacher and I knew nothing about selective mutism. Probably read it in a book, but was never touched on deeply in school. So when I learned that's what he had, I was like, okay, we need to get some intervention started. We need to find the best of the best, and that's Dr. E.
Oh, geez.
And now he's a thriving 8-year-old little boy who is, you would never know. You would never know the struggles that he went through. He still has generalized anxiety. We still use a lot of techniques that we learned here, but selective mutism is a thing of the past for him, which is amazing.
That's incredible. So I love hearing these stories, and I really want you to share your story, just the part about when we met, because to this day, and I've shared this with you, it'll always touch me, how we had that experience when you were so, frankly, in pain.
Yes.
And struggling, and also the hope you were concerned, you lacked some hope, frankly.
Yes.
And you were almost sure this would never go away. And I just want you to share how you felt, and I don't know if we discussed this part, but I'd love to hear, like, how did that conversation affect you after you left the appointment?
Yeah. I'm going to try not to cry. So AJ has been a lot since he was born, and a lot in a good way, but a lot also in a medical way. So I don't even know if you know this, but in a 1.5 years, he had brain surgery for a Chiari malformation. That took us into therapies and all of these things. And as soon as we were like, okay, physical therapy's done, speech therapy's done, we're ready to get started, COVID hit. We're ready to not be in waiting rooms anymore. COVID happened. So now we're stuck at home. Finally start daycare. And he's home, he's singing all the songs, he's doing all the things, he's so happy and not able to communicate with his teacher. Finally see his teacher, and across the parking lot, I'm like, hey, Miss Marlene, AJ's loving school. He's singing all the songs. I hear this song every day, that song every day. And she said, he talks. And I said, wait a minute, what? I'm like, this kid doesn't shut up. Like, so I said, what do you mean he doesn't talk? So we talked a little more again across the parking lot. I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on. Lo and behold, a lot of trauma around all the other medical stuff. And I'm like, okay, here's something else. So figure out what it is, figure out where we need to go to Dr. E. And I'm like, look, I'm like big picture, again, special ed teacher. I'm thinking about, I was teaching high school at the time. So I'm thinking about all those transition goals. And I'm thinking about, how is he ever going to get a job if he can't sit across from someone interviewing him? How is he ever going to be able to do anything in life? And Dr. E took my hand. And she said, we are going to get through this. You're going to get through this. I'm going to give you all of the information. Not to mention, she got my kid to talk within like 4 seconds of meeting him. And I'm like, oh my God, how'd you do that? Because no one else could do that.
I cannot power a park, by the way.
That's okay. Neither can I.
They have self-part now.
Yeah. I always joke, I can treat you SM, but I cannot power a park, and I'm not the best cook, right, Brand?
But all of that to say, she took my hand and she said, look, I've met him. I see him. He will be fine. I need you to trust me. And she also told me that I think about with him, I've shared with so many other parents of kids with SM, so many of other parents of just like kids in general that I'm friends with, is the rose story, which is, I need you to think about a dozen roses. Your husband goes to the grocery store, he comes home with a dozen roses, and that dozen of roses, you're going to have a few that are already bloomed and beautiful, and you see all the colors and all the pretty things, and that's me, right? Like, I'm kind of crazy. I'm very outgoing. What you see is what you get. And then you're going to see some roses that are super tight and super closed off, and you can't see anything yet. You can see how pretty they are on the outside, but that inside you can't really see yet. But by the end, by the time the rest of them die off, and by the time you have that one rose left, it's finally going to bloom and it's finally going to blossom. And just like all those other roses, you're going to see it, and you're going to see how beautiful it is, and you're going to see all of those things. It's just going to take more time. And I took a deep breath and I said, okay, we've got this. Most important thing I've learned was the look, listen, learn. Because I know how I am, and I'm like, okay, why isn't my kid acting the way that I act? I just took him on a walk one day and we talked, and yes, he was only 3, but he knew how to tell me, Mom, this is just kind of how I am, and these are the things that I kind of need. And I took what he was telling me, I took what I learned here, applied it in this situation. Ooh, well, that worked. Applied it in this situation. Okay, that didn't work. But applied it over here and it worked. And I just took all the pieces that worked and I kept applying them and kept using them. And now his teacher at the end of this year, his second grade teacher, said, I don't think the novel of an email that you wrote me with the 47 attachments from the Smart Center needs to be sent to his third grade teacher. I don't think that, like, I would be finding who, like, I would already be contacting the principal, already finding out who the teacher is, already doing all those things. She's like, I don't think you need to do it. She's like,
let go.
Yeah. She's like, I think you send it about Kiari just in case, you know, he has some issues, but other, like his brain issue. But other than that, she's like, I don't think selective mutism is a thing for him anymore. And I said, I have to agree.
Oh,
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.